Welcome to Paradelphia Radio. This is Rick Pruitt here in the hideaway we call the Toxic Studios, and it is the most wonderful day of the year. Today is, of course, April Fool's Day.
Do you have a joke for us? Are you playing a trick on us?
And I should have set the whole thing up.
Oh, man.
If I had more time today, Mike. That is the voice of our illustrious engineer slash owner slash co-host. He's got many hats.
I wear many hats, and they weigh my head down. That's why I took them off for the show, so that I could come on here and have some fun with you a little bit.
Mr. Toxic Mike.
Woo!
So April Fool's Day, first day of the, to me it's the first day of the spring. You know, it's really not the first day of spring, but you kind of think of it that way, you know? Don't you think of it that way? First day of April?
Yeah, it definitely kicks it off. The April is definitely the month where you're like, okay, it's starting to get warm. Certain days you can go out with shorts on.
Right.
It definitely kicks off the spring weather, especially here in Jersey when this past year has been hellish with the freezing rain and snow and everything else. We need a little April in our lives. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that some tonight. We're going to get into the origins of April Fool's Day, because mainly I was kind of curious about that myself, so I figured I would look up some information for the show and use it as a show topic, because I've never in all my life ever known why the hell people play jokes on April 1st. It never made any sense. It was just something you did, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like you're told when you're a kid, you do this when you're on April 1st. Oh, that's cool. You know,
this was the first year, at least through social media, I saw some I always look at April Fools as corporations do stupid jokes, radio shows do stupid jokes.
Right.
And they're always gimmicky and stuff. But I saw some parents out there doing some really interesting stuff on April Fools. Like taking the time to fill a whole toothpaste tube filled with mustard, so that their kids, when they went to brush their teeth in the morning, got a toothbrush full of mustard.
Wouldn't they notice the mustard?
They would, but it's that April Fool's thing.
See, you got to use mayonnaise.
Got
to use mayonnaise.
You just ruined.
That makes it. I saw it. It's not an April Fool's thing, but on. I love the jokes and the what do they call them? The scare cams on YouTube. It's really the only thing I think YouTube is any good for, to be honest with you.
The only thing. If I can watch you scare and probably pee yourself, we're good. Taryn
thinks I'm crazy because I watch these things and I crack up, but just people just jumping out and scaring each other just cracks me the fuck up. So what they also do is do pranks on each other sometimes, and the one guy had his family filled cream donuts with mayonnaise, and they fed it to him, and they had him on camera, and he was like, well, "This tastes weird."
Oh. That is so
that kind of stuff
gnarly.
Just cracks me up.
Oh, that literally kicks in the gag reflex on me. That is disgusting.
Now, do you not eat mayonnaise at all, or just
I'm
in that context?
I'm a Miracle Whip guy. Mayonnaise is disgusing to me.
I'll eat both. I like Miracle Whip too.
No, mayonnaise, no, nah, ugh,
no,
not even in a delicious pastry. Oh.
Not even a delicious pastry.
Another one I saw was they filled a bowl full of Elmer's glue and put their cereal in it.
Oh, geez.
So that when they went to go to eat their cereal, it was Elmer's glue. I thought they were pretty inventive.
Yeah, that might get a little hairy if you actually eat it and put it in your mouth.
I mean, I remember Elmer's glue as a delicious treat. I don't know what you think of it as, but I ate myself a lot of Elmer's glue in my day.
That explains a lot.
Thank you.
That explains a lot. Well, who was it? Remember the dumbass a couple weeks ago that what the hell did she do? She poured Gorilla Glue on her hair?
Gorilla Glue in her because she had this stuff that was got to be glued, which is an actual hair product, got to be glued. And she ran out. And Gorilla Glue has a similar bottle to that. And she thought that because it was glue, it would work just like the got to be glued hair stuff. And literally her hair was matted to her head for like a month before TMZ paid to have surgery done on her head to relieve her hair.
See, kids, this is why you stay in school and learn to read.
That's why?
This is why.
They just have that's her new job. She goes to schools and explains to them why they need to stay in school.
So you don't Gorilla Glue your hair to your head. It's one of the reasons. So we're going to talk a little bit about the April Fool's thing, and then I have a little bit of an interesting story later on, talking about human evolution and how. Remember I used to hate these memes. About a year ago, these were big. Remember the spitting memes? He's spitting this. He's spitting that. Remember that?
He's spitting the spitting memes.
Remember that? When
I know what you're talking about. Yes. Now that I think about it, yes.
Yeah, when somebody says something, I go, he's spitting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking stupid ass shit. But when I saw this story, I thought of those memes because this is a story about how human evolution might actually one day evolve to the point where we actually become a venomous species.
Ooh.
Then we could really be spitting. Then it wouldn't be so funny.
I mean, I'm all about spitting. I'll spit up and down. All right.
Were you a spitter in school, like when it was like cool when you were a kid? Did you do that?
I was never really a spitter.
Do you remember what I'm talking about, though?
I feel like somebody's going to take the audio of what I'm saying here and make it really, really bad. But I was never really a spitter. That just went wrong. Sorry for people listening on the podcast version. I just made us go into like a time warp.
That was very 70s, 60s ish.
No, I was trying to show this, which is a meme that you were talking about.
Oh yeah,
with Mike Tyson saying
right.
the sprinkler. But no, I was never really a spitter.
Yeah, that was like a thing back when I was in school, and it really had no purpose. There was no purpose to it at all. Like we were like 8, 9, 10 years old, and people would just walk around the playground going.
Well, but then you had as the kids got older, the ones that were the spitters, then they would start doing the hocking the loogies.
Yeah,
where,
right.
They do that. I still to this day in the movie Big Daddy when the kid does that, it's actually causing the gag reflex. This is the night where Mike just gags throughout the whole entire show.
I thought that was a different show.
Shit. Oh, Jen is not even here to enjoy it. But in Big Daddy, when the kid does the loogie and almost touches the ground, right. I can't watch that. I have to turn away. I have to fast forward. I have to skip it. I can't. It's
all the disgusting shit you've done.
I know. That's it. That's where I draw the line.
You snorted a condom at one point.
I 100% did. You are true to that, sir.
But this is disgusting you. That's a line you can't cross.
Right there. Very steady, very strong line.
There's the line. Oh, well.
All right, so all the ladies out there, no.
Everyone has their line. Oh, yeah. There we go.
That's mine.
We got some incriminating pictures here in the studio. All right, so let's get started on this. So April Fool's Day. So I kind of, like I said, I wanted to figure out what was going on with April Fool's Day, why it was such a thing, why it became such a thing. And apparently this is something that's been around for quite a long time. The origins of April Fool's Day, there's a lot of different stories that go into this or have been told as the real, quote unquote, real story. So we'll go over some of these. I'm honestly not sure which one is the true beginning of it, or maybe it's all of them combined, just with different cultures around the world. But the first one says some historians have speculated that April Fool's Day actually dates back to 1582, when France switched from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, as called for by the Council of Trent in 1563.
Gregory.
In the Julian calendar, as in the Hindu calendar, the new year begins with the spring equinox around April 1st. But people who were slow to get the news or failed to recognize the new start of the year being January 1st and continued to celebrate during the last week of March into April became the butt of jokes and hoaxes and were called, quote, April Fools. These pranks included having paper fish placed on their backs and being referred to as poisson d'avril, which means April fish, said to be a symbol for a young, easily caught fish and a gullible person. So, it's one of those things where we didn't have the internet back then, obviously. We didn't have newspapers. I kind of feel bad for these people because how did they made this decision to start the whole year on a different date. It couldn't have possibly gone viral, to use a common term, that quickly.
Look, basically what Rick just said is People back in the day were bored out of their minds. They were just bored and were trying to do anything. So it was sex and then April Fools.
Sex and April Fools.
And every now and then they'd eat. And that's all they had in their lives.
So they had 35 kids that all played April Fools on them.
Exactly, because they were bored.
I mean, it's not like they had a lot going on, and they couldn't, get news quickly. It's kind of like when, even back in you ever hear about these people back in like the World War II that were fighting in the jungle that didn't realize the war was over for years?
Oh yeah, they were in there. They were camped up. They were still protecting their base.
Like 30 years. Like there were dudes that were in there for fucking 30 years.
Didn't know the war was over.
Till the 70s. That thought the war was still going on.
They basically, but that's 100% they time traveled. Because you come out of there living in the woods for that long. I mean, good that they were trained properly and knew how to fend for themselves, survive, and do all that stuff. But you come out of there, and that is time travel.
And then they get a hold of Raquel Welch in her little bikini from 1 million years BC. You ever watch that movie?
I have not. I thought we were going to go with Doc Brown. He's kind of sexy.
Doc Brown. I just watched that movie the other day. No, dude, Raquel was my crush when I was a kid, man. She was freaking hot.
She was your crush?
Yeah, when I was a little kid.
How old are you?
I'm 400 years old.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, she was older at the time. Like she was, when I was a kid, she was probably in her 40s or 50s. But it wasn't that I was crushing on her as a 50-year-old, although she was good looking as a 50-year-old. But it was all these movies that I used to watch, like the old movies from the 60s.
Uh-huh.
She was smoking hot.
I had a thing for the Golden Girls. Moving on. So, that is not a lie.
Which one? Which one? Or all of them?
I mean, Blanche was obviously the goer. But, I forget her name in the show now. Estelle Getty.
Sophia?
Sophia was feisty.
Yeah.
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 I'm not even joking.
Like those Sophia people, Sophia chicks.
I have a Golden Girls magnet on my fridge at home and a Golden Girls t-shirt.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Take that with you. No April Fools on here.
If we ever get a psychological show on this network, we really got to dig into that.
So wait, now we're getting a psychological analysis of me. We're doing the medium thing.
Yeah.
You just want to pick apart my brain.
I do.
I feel kind of violated.
You are like my lab rat.
That's only reason Rick keeps coming back. He's like, I'm going to get into that mind.
You are my lab rat.
We're going to figure out what's going on there. I'll give him some cheese.
I am curious. All right, so it says, let's see, moving on here. Historians have also linked April Fools to festivals such as Hilaria, Latin for joyful, which was celebrated in ancient Rome at the end of March by followers of the cult of Cybele. It involved people dressing up in disguises and mocking fellow citizens and even magistrates, in other words, judges, who were said to be inspired by the Egyptian legends of Isis, Osiris, and Seth. So, yeah, it was a day to just rip on people.
And to this day, still a day to rip on people.
I mean,
piss off people.
It's a little bit different, though, because the jokes imply like a little bit of forethought. You could just walk into a room and just rip the hell out of somebody for no reason.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People are bored.
Back to the boring stuff. There's also speculation April Fool's Day was tied to the vernal equinox, or the first day of spring in the northern hemisphere, when Mother Nature fooled people with changing, unpredictable weather. Now, that I buy. A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, around this time, it is unpredictable.
Because God knows, it's been 75 and then 40.
Yeah, you go out first thing in the morning, you've got a winter coat on.
Right.
By the afternoon, you're sweating hot and wish you had shorts on.
Yeah. So April Fool's Day spread throughout Britain during the 18th century. In Scotland, the tradition became a 2-day event, starting with, quote, hunting the gawk, in which people were sent on phony errands. Gawk is a word for cuckoo bird, or the symbol for a fool. They were sent on phony errands and followed by Tally Day, which involves pranks played on people's derrieres. So butt stuff.
The first one you told involved some butt stuff. I'm wondering if April Fools, we all played these goofy little jokes, but it's really about butt stuff. I mean, you might have tapped into something.
Well, what they're saying here is...
You let your wife know when you go home. Today is about butt stuff.
Today's about butt stuff. It's a historic day.
I know. How dare you not appreciate the history?
There's a tradition to keep up. So, such as people. Now, this is supposed to be what they did. So, such as pinning fake tails or "kick me" signs on them. So, I read about this. Now, this is the more interesting thing. Believe it or not, is not the butt stuff here. It's
not.
I know.
Wait a second.
It's the hunting the gawk, because I read more about this earlier in a different article. This is pretty funny. This is where like somebody would write a note, and the note would say like gibberish. And he would give it to somebody, fold it over, make it like a private note, and say, "Go deliver this to Bob." And he'd go to Bob, and Bob would look at the note, and he'd realize by looking at the note that it was an April Fool's joke, and he would say, "Oh my God," fold it back up and hand it back to the person. "You got to take this to Tim." And he would run to Tim, and Tim would look at it and realize the same thing Bob did, and fold it up again and go, "Oh, you got to run this to Mary." And they would send this person to person to person to person to person all over the place with this nonsense note, and send this person on this like wild goose chase.
It's a Roman times chain letter.
Yeah.
Pass this along or you'll receive bad luck.
I mean, I think that's a friggin' brilliant idea.
That's crazy.
That is a brilliant idea. And it wasn't like it was pre-planned. Like, as soon as you see that note, you know that, oh, this is just one of those gags. So you fold it up and you pick another person and you send it to them.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like if you were in on the joke or you were not in on the joke.
Right.
You know?
I like it.
I do too. I think we ought to try it.
Anyone
not listening to this show is not in on the joke.
I don't. That is true. There's a lot of them. So many people not in on the joke. Oh, Jesus Christ! It's where the chain letter started. I like it.
Yeah. All right. So in modern times, people have gone to great lengths to create elaborate April Fool's Day hoaxes. Newspapers, radio and TV stations, and websites have participated in the April 1st tradition of reporting outrageous, fictional claims that have fooled the audiences. In 1957, a BBC report from Swiss farmers were experiencing a record spaghetti crop and showed footage of people harvesting noodles from trees. In 1985, Sports Illustrated writer George Plimpton tricked many readers when he ran a made-up article about a rookie pitcher named Sid Fitch who could throw a fastball over 168 miles an hour. In 1992, National Public Radio ran a spot with former President Richard Nixon saying he was running for president again, only it was an actor, not Nixon, and the segment was all an April Fool's Day prank that caught the country by surprise. I think I vaguely remember that.
Somebody's go a little far.
Yeah, man. In 1996, Taco Bell, the fast food restaurant chain, duped people when it announced it had agreed to purchase Philadelphia's Liberty Bell and intended to rename it the Taco Liberty Bell. In 1998, after Burger King advertised left-handed Whoppers, scores of clueless customers requested the fake sandwich. Google notoriously hosts an annual April Fool's Day prank that has included everything from telepathic search to the ability to play Pac-Man on Google Maps. Telepathic search. That must be really freaking hysterical. Just look at your computer and think of what you want to search.
I'm trying to do it right now.
Oh, my. For the classic trickster, there's always the April Fool's Day prank of covering the toilet with plastic wrap or switching out the salt and sugar. Plastic wrap on the toilet. I've seen that done on YouTube, too.
Don't do the plastic wrap.
That is funny shit.
I have seen a few April Fool's jokes by companies like, I know that Burger King did the chocolate Whopper 1 year. But again, these are ones that people do. And then the people that are supposed to be getting duped love it.
Right.
And then they're like, why are you not doing this?
Why is this not real?
Why is this? You've teased me now.
Right.
I want this. You're an asshole.
Does anyone really want a chocolate Whopper?
Yes. What do you mean? Why is that a question? I mean, honestly, ask me after I've had about 3 shots and 6 beers. Yes, and yes.
Was it supposed to be just chocolate, or was it supposed to be like hamburger and chocolate?
Let me open this. I actually have a picture of it here, and we're gonna bring it up.
All right.
But for the people that are watching,
for
everybody else, you could just Google chocolate Whopper.
Oh,
but it was a
God.
chocolate Whopper.
So it's a Whopper with chocolate sauce.
And I see the chocolate shavings.
Chocolate shavings on tomato and onion and a burger.
I think that those probably are like white chocolate and they can't be. I think everything
that
here is
looks
supposed
like
to be chocolate.
tomato and bacon. Or tomato and
onion. It does. I mean, I'm still not going to turn it away. I'm still not going to turn it away.
You would eat that. So the kid with the snot going down his nose, that is the line, but the chocolate Whopper with tomatoes and onions, not a line to you're good.
All good.
You're all good.
Let's just slide in there.
Wow.
Let's slide in there.
I'm going to tell you what I tell Taryn all the time. You need to be studied. It's so good that she doesn't listen to this show.
That's so good. That's so good. My significant other doesn't listen to my show.
Every once in a while, she'll listen. She listened. I told you a couple weeks ago. She listened to, I think it was 2 or 3 episodes in a row, and she was like, "I listen to your show now." I'm like, "Yeah, we have 289 episodes. You listened to 3.
There was 3 out of all those,
or maybe 5. She was at like 2 other ones.
Once we start seeing you in the chat room, then you're good.
Right. Yeah, that won't happen. All right, so let's get to our other topic tonight. So I thought this was kind of interesting. Evolution kind of throws a curveball every now and then, and this is something that just kind of came out of left field. I can't really, well, in a way I can't believe it, but in a way I can, because the way the human body is set up, we have extra parts. We're born when you're in utero with a tail. And you have an appendix that nobody knows what the hell it does. So there's some stuff there that, and you have all this junk DNA, which nobody knows what the hell it does. Your body is basically, what is it, like at least 80% or 70% junk DNA.
It's a lot of junk in your trunk.
It's a lot of junk in your trunk, yeah. Again, more butt stuff.
If this is your first time listening to Paradelphia, welcome to the butt zone.
We're not usually this raunchy. We just don't have a guest tonight.
This is what happens when you leave us to our own devices.
Right. That's why we got to start booking guests left and right, because we can't do this week after week. So this is an article from MysteriousUniverse.com, and it says humans may evolve into a venomous species. So this says, according to a new study, humans have the tools to eventually evolve into a venomous species, although the chances are very low. The study revealed that mammals and reptiles have the tools to produce venom in their salivary glands, and that's how over 100 non-venomous animals turned into venomous creatures. Interestingly, mammals use their venom in different ways. Vampire bats use their toxic saliva to prevent blood clots and easily feed from wounds. Venomous shrews and shrew-like solodons use their venom to overcome larger creatures and occasionally even paralyze their prey so they can come back later at a later time and feed on them. While platypuses don't have venom in their saliva, they do have venomous spurs on the back of their legs, and that they use as a defense mechanism. And slow lorises, which I had no idea there was such a thing called a loris. It's like a little badger-looking thing. Are the only known venomous primate species. Their bite is so powerful that it can cause flesh to rot, but they only use their venom on each other instead of other animals. So this is some examples of, different mammals and species that did not start out venomous, that have become venomous over the years, over the millennium, I guess. Millennium.
Last year they weren't. This year they are.
Last year they weren't. 1999 they weren't. 2000, Y2K didn't happen, but goddamn it, they got venomous, shrews now.
I mean, we did get more murder hornets, and they weren't around before.
Murder hornets are new.
Yeah.
They are new. So will humans become like slow lorises or even venomous snakes and spiders? Agnish... Yeah, Mike?
What?
I thought you had something to say.
Oh, no. I was going to say something, but go ahead.
Agnish Barua, who is a doctoral student in evolutionary genetics at the Okinawa Institute of Science and Technology in Japan, as well as co-author of the study, answered this by saying, quote, essentially, We have all the building blocks in place. Now it's up to evolution to take us there. Barua and Alexander Mikhayev, who is an evolutionary biologist at Australian National University and a co-author of the study, focused on housekeeping genes related to the venom instead of looking just at the toxins. By studying a brown pit viper, they found that numerous genes are common in amniotes, or animals that fertilize their eggs internally or lay them on land, and that many of the genes have folding proteins. Venomous creatures create toxins that contain protein. There are large amounts of protein in human saliva as well, specifically callicrins, or stable proteins that digest other proteins, and they are found in saliva and are present in several venoms. Brian Fry, who is a biochemist and venom expert at the University of Queensland in Australia, but was not involved in the study, said it was not coincidental that callicrin is the most broadly secreted type of component in venoms across the animal kingdom, because in any form it's very active enzyme and it's going to start doing some messed up stuff. So basically what they're getting at here seems to be that we have the building, like he said, we have the building blocks for venom.
That's crazy.
And it's just a matter of whether or not evolution takes us there. If there's a need for venom to be
So wouldn't there, I mean, going with the logic here, there would have to be one, even with evolution. It wouldn't be evolution that everybody out of nowhere has venom as human beings. It would be like one person, and then we'd all get it. So that person would be like a superhero.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if it would just be one person, or if it would be, I'm not sure. Like,
I would love to know. I mean, evolution is a thing. Evolution happens. Is it something that just happens because, the water we're drinking, so it is a more populated event, even though it is taking forever to happen? It happens over a million years and years and years. But there has to be one point where somebody is venomous, right?
You would think so. Maybe it's already happened. Maybe he's out there.
Are you trying to tell us something?
Maybe he's out there.
Is he you?
He's
That was creepy. Anybody listening to the home's like, what the hell did that just happen there? But I would love to know. Like, I don't know the answer to that question. Would it just be one person, multiple people, or would it happen so slowly that it would just be like nothing. All of a sudden, it seems like you wake up the next morning, everybody's venomous. It's interesting. It really is.
Jack, what's going on with you?
You just bit the dog, and the dog's dead. What happened?
Why are you coiled around the furniture?
And it's very, very interesting, and it begs to differ if somehow, some way, in a mutation within a human feces. Oh my God. That is not the right word. Within a human fetus, if that mutation would have happened, just like we talk about with X-Men and all that kind of stuff,
right,
in the past, and if that is a biological possibility with humans,
right,
is that where the thought of vampires came from?
Well, it's interesting.
I'm going down a weird road,
no,
but you understand what I'm saying.
It's interesting you bring up vampires, because I was going to go down that road too. There was a book out there written by a guy named Jonathan Mayberry called Vampire Wars. It was actually a series on, I think it was Netflix, a few months back. And basically the premise behind this book is, like I mentioned, the junk DNA a few minutes ago. So the premise behind this book is they are digging in the Arctic or the Antarctic, and they come across this old DNA that is ancient DNA in the ice, that when it comes in contact with humans, it activates the latent dormant DNA in your system, the junk DNA in your system, and it creates vampires. So, and it goes along the lines of ethnic vampires, because all around the world there's different legends for vampires. They look different, they act different in different parts of the world. An Asian vampire will do one thing, a South American vampire will do another, Japanese will do another, and so forth. And so the idea behind this show was that these creatures dig into your dormant junk DNA, and you turn into whatever ethnic vampire you are. You know, if you're German, if you're Japanese, if you're, you know, whatever, you turn into that type of vampire. And so it became this big thing where the world was infested with these vampires, and it was a big story. But the gist behind it was how they're digging into these places that are ancient places in the Arctic, which they are doing. They literally are doing this. They found that, was it Lake Baikal, that was supposed to be like, hadn't been touched for like 10,000 years or something, and they went and dug water out of there. Like, you don't know what you're getting into, man. You don't know.
That's the rush, man. That's how you get the adrenaline going when you don't know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
That just, it boggles my mind going down that slippery slope. And I'm just sitting here thinking, this junk DNA, this junk stuff within our bodies that is just like an on-off switch. And if it gets switched on, we have this other things that I want to say capabilities, but I know that's not the right word.
Right. That
other animals around us have. I mean, is there something that could be switched on that gives us... you just had that one guest on who was an expert with animals and could kind of talk to animals.
Right.
Is there something that switches on that gives us those kind of instincts, gives us that kind of hearing, that kind of smell? This is the first I've ever heard of it, and I'm very, very intrigued to learn more. For my own personal thoughts of we can be mutants, but I still want to learn more.
Well, what's not to say that we have mutants among us now? Because
that's what I'm saying.
Because if you think about it, I mean, let's take all right. We've had Jean Durkin on the show many times. She's a medium that speaks with spirit. Now I can't do that. You can't do that, but she can. So those type of people, you know, that could be considered a mutant trait if you want to get technical about it. And there's other people that can do various things aside from that. We had Rob Guttrow on a couple weeks ago that did the animal communication, and he also does communication with people as well. So again, people like that, what's to say that isn't some kind of a mutation in their genetic code, which allows them access to a part of the world, of the universe, of our surroundings on a different spectrum that we can't see and hear.
So I 100% agree with you, but I am Skeptic Mike. So follow me for a second as I say that, because I have seen this before too, and I don't know if this is real or not. I might be getting catfished with this, but I've seen this many times where some people have the ability to attract, to be like magnetized.
Right. Yeah. That too. Yeah.
To me, and I'm with you on the whole like abilities to be a medium and everything, but there are skeptics out there that don't believe in that because it's not proven. There's no way to prove it. You're believing. You're going with it. You understand what I'm saying?
But how would you prove that?
That's what I'm saying. There's no way to prove it.
Yeah.
There 100% is no way. The only way you can prove it is if the person tells you something that nobody else knows.
But that's happened.
Right. That's what, but I'm still, but there, I think I've said this to Gene before. There's enough people out there that are carnies at it, that are con artists at it. Where you find, I'm dead serious, where you find out that they have a little earpiece in, and the people have intercepted the radio,
right? That
they're being told by somebody else, somebody's name, and it's happened.
Yeah.
I'm not discrediting other people.
Right.
I'm saying I don't know.
Well, the way
I think that's fair.
The way I look at that, it seems to me, with all these topics, with you know, the kid that's
going to keep this kid up here.
The kid, just keep him up there. Why not? The kid that can attract metal with a medium, with UFOs, because UFO abductees and witnesses, they're run over the coals. And every time something like that comes up, or ghosts or anything like that,
right?
People that are skeptical of it turn inside out and backwards, trying to come up with some logical scenario for why this happened.
Absolutely. But what I was trying to get at is with this stuff, and I'm going to bring up another one because they're just so funny. With this stuff, these are like, there's no disputing this. Like, if somebody has an ability that they can demonstrate on command for you, whatever it is, you know what I mean?
Right.
The ability, if somebody doesn't have a collarbone and they can actually make their shoulders touch and clap with their shoulders,
right?
You know what I mean? That's something they could do that you could physically see, that there's no disputing it.
Right.
Something like this. So when I say stuff like this as being the mutation, I mean something that 100% I say, show me, and you show me, and I go, aha.
But here's the problem with that. Why do we not hold the paranormal and belief in the paranormal, whatever the topic may be, to the same standard as what we have in the court of law? Because in the court of law, if I say XYZ happened and there's enough circumstantial evidence around it, even without witnesses, even without tangible, literal proof I can bring into a courtroom, that's considered good enough to be legitimate evidence.
The reason I can give you 100% reason. The reason being because we do have enough individuals in the world who, whether they're called magicians, whether they're called illusionists, whether they're called mental illusionists, I will point out Penn and Teller, who I'm a huge fan of, who for their own reasons reveal some of this stuff and reveal how people do it. They have revealed how individuals accomplish being able to say that they are either reading your mind, or that they're psychic, or that they talk to the dead. They've just demonstrated this either by the power of suggestion, the power of being able to, and this is a craft in its own, to read your actual facial expressions, body language. The simplest thing, like your eye twitching for a second, or your eyebrow raising or going down. I've watched this stuff because I'm very intrigued by this. So when you have individuals that'll show, now here's the flip side to that, which is, are there people that actually have the ability to do this? But you also have these people that are the con artists that know how to do the magical end of it. Because once you have both of those, one discredits the other. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right, but just because you have the ability to do those things doesn't mean that everyone is doing them. I mean, going back to the court of law thing, like if I can fake evidence as well as anybody, but it doesn't mean that I have. And if you know what I'm saying, like, so yeah, I get it. Like, it's you're never going to have a situation where people couldn't fake it. You can have the most drop dead evidence. Like, you can have a video of somebody shooting somebody, in cold blood on a CCTV TV camera, and that might be faked, or that might be photoshopped, or whatever. Like, there are ways around everything.
The invent of Photoshop and how you can edit stuff on your phones nowadays, that just it blows.
Right.
I mean, the fact that you could do, they do the, oh geez, I forget the name of it, where you could plaster a celebrity's face on your face and it looks like the celebrity, or plaster your face.
The deep fake thing?
That's what it was, the deep fake stuff. Yeah. That's scary as all hell. Right. Because now that you could deep fake anything and it looks so freaking real. Right. That line between what's reality and what isn't is being skewed so much.
Right. And it's one of those things where you're never ever going to get to a point where you can 100% without any doubts at all say, yeah, this is really true. But you can also never get to 100% believability with any kind of court evidence either. You're no matter how good it is, there's always a possibility that there could be some fakeage going on. So, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where I feel like when you're talking about topics that are not, he loves that kid with the spoon.
I just wanted to point it out and go, I know that's not fake. Because I'm sorry. I do love that kid. I want that kid on the show.
When you're talking about topics that are just more mundane topics, everyday topics, criminal charges and criminal whatever, that isn't held to the same ridiculous standard as someone who is claiming something paranormal. Mm-hmm. And that's not okay, because one should yes, you can't get 100% believability on any of it. But just because there's claims out there that somebody saw something in the sky that dropped down and abducted them, or they saw a ghost, or they can read somebody's mind, or whatever it might be. Just because these claims are not quote unquote normal claims, everyday claims, mm-hmm. it doesn't mean you should hold them to some unbelievable, ridiculous standard that can't possibly be reached. Because that's what's really going on here. Is the skeptic people don't want to believe these things are happening. So they take it. Now, you might not. I might not be.
Yeah. For me, I want to. I want to know that this stuff is going on.
Yeah, but there's a lot that don't. There's a lot of them, like for various reasons, the fear of what may happen if this is a real thing.
The uncovering, it's the unraveling of their reality.
It's people who have devoted their entire lives to, a genre or a topic or whatever, and they all of a sudden they get it blown out of the water by revelations that, hey, there's aliens out there. Like people that have said there haven't been any for 50 years, and they've built their entire career on this. Now NASA comes out or somebody comes out in the government and says, you know what, guys? Yeah, there really are. Well, that guy's completely discredited now, and he doesn't want that to happen. So he's going to do anything he possibly can, even to the point where he's going to make some ridiculous statement, just as long as he puts some kind of doubt out there. But you're always going to be able to do that.
Right. Well, my mother calls me Sheldon sometimes. and we know that's from the Big Bang Theory. Because I'm of the mindset of, I'm not going to say that it's not possible, but you have to prove it to me. It has to make sense. It has to be logical. And there has to be fact base behind it. I mean, that's why I'm an atheist. That's why, like if you can't prove it to me, if it doesn't make sense, if it doesn't make logical sense, I will wait. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt to prove it to me, but prove it to me. Now, I would love to continue on this, but I do have to ask you one thing.
Yeah.
You are an animal lover.
Yes.
Extraordinaire.
Right.
I mean, I've seen pictures of you on Facebook with 1 million animals around you like you're Dr. Doolittle, and I go, holy crap, that's a lot of hair on that man. Somebody get him a roller.
We have many.
So, and you speak a lot of animals.
Right.
If we do, as human beings, have the junk DNA? Is that what you called it?
Right.
If we have this junk DNA, and in this junk DNA is the ability to tap into instincts and abilities of animals, what instinct or ability from animals do you think would be something you would want? I know I'm kind of throwing this at you out of nowhere, but
I think it would be the ability to see in a wider visual spectrum.
I agree with that. I like that. That was a good one.
Because animals can see in a different spectrum, and I agree with you. I think that's why they look at things that you can't see. Because we don't, like I've said this many times in the show, if our visual spectrum runs, or if the visual spectrum runs from 1 through 10, the human visual spectrum is maybe from 4 to 6. So you have all the rest of that before 4 and after 6 that we can't see. But animals have a wider spectrum, and I think they can see more out there, and that'd be kind of cool to be able to do.
Wow. I agree with you. That was a good one. I'm glad I asked that question. That was a good answer. I like that.
Like that?
I like that.
Pulled that right out of my ass.
It's back to the butt. It's back to the butt. Right when we thought we were out of the butt, we go back in.
Yeah, it's the way it usually goes.
Before we exit this one.
All right. Yeah. So it's one of those things where you're never gonna convince everybody. You're gonna have those people out there that have their own agenda for whatever reason. But, it'll be interesting, especially with the UFO stuff, because I don't know if you heard about this, but I think one of the bills that went through Congress back in, I want to say November or December, part of that bill stated that the government has to release all the information they have on UFO sightings within 6 months. And I believe 6 months is like June 24th or something like that. So it'll be really interesting to see what is released, because you'd know damn well the government has more information than they've ever said.
Oh, absolutely. It might not be as fun and exciting as we want it to be, but they definitely have more.
Oh, yeah. And they're starting to hint around at it, because the little drips and drabs here and there, like they had, I forget who it was the other day, came out and said basically they do have proof that these crafts that they're seeing have been able to break the sound barrier, but do it without a sonic boom, which is not possible, at least not theoretically possible to us. Because the sonic boom is you pushing the air. When you go that fast, you literally push the air around you, and it makes a noise when you go that fast, and the air, I think when it passes your ship, it like bang, it makes that bang boom sound. So if you're doing that and you're not having that sound happen, that means you're not pushing the air. So how are you going from point A to point B? Are you doing it through some kind of portal where you don't have air being pushed?
Please let portals be a thing.
Hey,
please let portals be a thing.
It could very well be.
I would love to just create a portal and walk through it. God damn it, makes some things so much easier. God, I don't have to deal with 295 traffic anymore because people don't know how to build roads. Sorry, that was I just let that
just
go.
Zip right into the studio. All right, so it's been an interesting night. We touched on a few different topics here. I didn't plan on getting into a general discussion about paranormal and belief in paranormal, but it's always good to kind of go down a road that you don't expect.
I apologize.
No, it's fine. It's fine because
it is that to me it's that difference between a mutation and non-mutation. But again, I agree with what you're saying. And you know what? To anybody listening, to anybody watching these shows, send me stuff. I would love Mike@toxicradio.net. Send me stuff.
Yeah.
You know something, you've seen something, you've experienced something. I will never, ever say that you are lying or that you're wrong. I believe each and every one of you. I just look at a different view, but I would love to hear from you.
Yeah. We should do a show. I just thought of this. Just in real
look at
time.
That.
Just thought
Bam,
of this. Boom, just
genius.
Like that. Just like the animal answer. Since we're doing this video thing, it'd be really cool to, now we couldn't do this as a podcast, but to do a video show where we pull up some paranormal videos, ghosts and weird shit, because it's all over the internet, and just kind of look at them and kind of dissect them and talk about them.
You know that here at Toxic we're always down sometimes for some weird shit. Which means that
everybody would have to watch the video show, because obviously you can't do something like that over radio. But for the video show, we might be able to.
That is something we might be able to
do a very special episode.
I mean, we are in the brand new, polished Toxic Radio studios.
It is,
with all these fancy new abilities and monitors everywhere. I think we could probably make something like that happen, and maybe even have a panel in here to discuss this kind of stuff and have a really good back and forth. I think that's a possibility.
I think that's an idea.
Yeah,
that's an idea.
Maybe do it for some kind of charity. Look at me throwing things out there because I care about people.
We got our 300th coming up pretty soon. Maybe we could do it for that.
Oh my God, I've been looking at that, waiting for that. That might be something for the 300th.
300.
300.
3 freaking 100 shows.
Oh my God.
Good Lord.
Longer than any of my relationships.
All right. Well, on that note, let's wrap things up for the evening. All right. So, so it's been a fun night. So if you guys are wondering whatever became of the April Fools or where that came from, y'all know. Yeah, look at that. Fishman's already in. We already got people coming in.
Fish is in for it.
All right. We're good. All right. So thank you guys for listening. And we'll be back next week with another very special guest. For Magic Mike, going to call you Magic Mike from now on.
Thanks.
Magic Toxic Mike. Toxic Magic Mike. I'll figure it out. I am Rick. We are Paradelphia, and we are out of here.